evening, everybody. Welcome to the Midday News with Montana. I am your host, Montana Free, and this is brought to you by MFTV, or Montana Free Television. You can check our website out, montanafreetv.com. And let's get into it. It's going to be an interesting one, yet again. Oh. The news, it's making my head hurt. But we got to cover it. We got to be aware of what's going on out there, don't we? Don't we? Radon Antifa, good to see you out there. Michael Meyer, good to see you. Let's take a look at the news and see what's been going on out there. I shouldn't have started with this one. Resident Potato Joe Biden in Alabama. I was a student up north in the civil rights movement. And I remember feeling how guilty I was that I wasn't here. This is the guy that basically wrote the bill to put many black men behind jail or behind bars. Joe Biden on Sunday delivers remarks commemorating Bloody Sunday in Selma, Alabama. Biden falsely claims he was involved in the civil rights movement. Well, he was just on the wrong side of it. This is one of Biden's favorite lies. I was a student up north in the civil rights movement. I remember feeling how guilty I was. I wasn't here. Biden said, and this never happened. Not even once. There you go. You wanna hear Resident Potato? Let's fire it up.
Truth and to act to keep the promise of America alive. I was a student up north in the civil rights movement. I remember feeling how guilty I was. I wasn't here. How could we all be up there and you going through what you went through, looking at those? I can still picture the troopers with their batons and wands and whips. A promise that declares we're all created and deserve to be treated equally. 2 weeks later, they marched to Montgomery with Dr. King and an even bigger coalition of people from different races and faiths. 5 months later, the Voting Rights Act was signed into law 5 months later. But as I come here in commemoration, not for show, Selma is a reckoning. The right to vote, to have your vote counted, is the threshold of democracy and liberty. With it, anything's possible. Without it, without that right, nothing is possible. And this fundamental right remains under assault. The conservative Supreme Court has gutted the Voting Rights Act over the years. Since the 2020 election, a wave of states and dozens of anti-voting laws.
Okay, time out. When someone says over the years, I can't listen to the rest of that. Someone says over the years, you'd think that was a long period of time, since 2020, so 3 years. What happened before that, Joe? Just curious. In 1987, Joe Biden claimed he marched in the civil rights movement. A few months later, Biden disavowed the claim. Decades later, during the Obama era, and more recently on the campaign trail, he started making the same claim again. Oh, here we go.
When I marched in the civil rights movement, I did not march with a 12-point program. I marched with tens of thousands of others to change attitudes. And we changed attitudes.
When I was 17 years old, like many of you, I participated in sit-ins to desegregate the restaurants and movie houses of Wilmington, Delaware. I came out of the civil rights movement. I was one of those guys that sat in and marched and all that stuff. During the 60s, I was, in fact, very concerned about the civil rights movement. I was not an activist. I worked at an all-black swimming pool in the east side of Wilmington, Delaware. I was involved. I was involved in what they were thinking, what they were feeling. I was involved, but I was not out marching. I was not down in Selma. I was not anywhere else. I was a suburbanite kid who got a dose of exposure to what was happening to black Americans when I'm in my own city.
You know, when I was a teenager in Delaware, for real, I got involved in the civil rights movement. We have the 8th largest black.
Resident potato. Always good for a laugh. What a schmuck. Leader of the free world right there, folks. Oh, yeah. You buy that for $1? I don't. Just saying. Oh, let's start over here. More fun news. They're always watching. Analyst Stephen A. Smith warns suspended player that NBA has FBI connections. No. Yeah. I was a corn pop and I put water on my legs and I had blonde hair and my hair disappeared and I used to scratch razors on the sidewalk and make them rusty. And what the fuck are you talking about, Joe? They're always watching. That's for sure. It's funny how they can just come out and say it now. Popular reporter and analyst Stephen A. Smith warned NBA All-Star Ja Morant? Evidently that's his name. Okay. Really? Ain't got any more letters than that? Okay, cool. Who was recently suspended for showing a gun in a social media post. How dare he? Was it a legally owned firearm? Just curious. I'm just asking for a friend. That the NBA has connections with the FBI. No. Slowly finding out that the FBI has their hands in just about everything. Yeah, God help anybody who... Does anybody notice, I want to know, I got to know Joe's secret. I mean, I'm not exactly got a full head of hair anymore either, but the man looks like he's had hair, went bald, got hair back again, went bald again, got hair back again. I want to know how he gets it back. Maybe it's that's why he sniffs all the baby. Okay, all right, okay. That's why he's sniffing all those young kids. He's probably pulling stem cells from them while he's doing it. Anyway, I take full responsibilities for my action. I'm going to take some time away to get help. Get help for what, dude? Okay, I gotta see if they have the post of this scary firearm that he had. Fox News reported that Smith, the longtime basketball critic, is warning Morant to be conscious of his actions and the company he keeps. Drawing comparison to former player Allen Iverson, who was jailed at 17 years old before having an outstanding professional career. Smith cautions the Memphis Grizzlies player about the NBA's connection that allows the league to monitor his activity. You are a superstar. You are 23 years old. You got a deal that kicks in next year that could exceed $231 million over the next 5 years. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? Whew. And on this show on national television, there's you associated with police. I want to see if they show this picture. I want to see the bad gun. Nah, of course not. Of course not. Probably took it down right away, deleted it, all that stuff. They got to go back in the Wayback Time Machine to find it, because I don't keep and bear arms. I'm kind of confused on why people are lost on that. Very confusing. But I guess if you work for a company that's, willing to do that to you, well, that's the company you keep. So they're not wrong. Just, it's like my dad always said to me, I'm not mad at you. I'm just disappointed. Jill Biden calls competency test for politicians over the age of 75 ridiculous and says Biden's would never discuss that. Of course not. You can't even discuss your son's laptop. Let's take a look at, there they are. Oh, yes. Doesn't he just look like he's of sound mind and body? Ooh. Uh-huh. And that poor gold digger right there. I mean, she really hit it big. Whew. I mean, at least Hugh Hefner could string a sentence together. I don't know what this guy's got, but First Lady Jill Biden calls the idea of a politician over the age of 75 taking a competency test ridiculous. Says she and President Joe Biden would never even discuss something like that. The test, suggested by Republican presidential candidate Nikki Haley, was rejected promptly by Joe Biden in an interview with CNN. No kidding. Here's the thing. If you didn't have anything wrong, why would you be so concerned about the test? I don't know. It just seems like you got something to hide there. But yet, you can force everybody in the free world to take a test to travel by shoving this gigantic, well, I guess not huge, but long, serrated Q-tip up your nose to tickle your brainstem to figure out if you have FOVID or not. Okay, makes sense. Hey, whatever works for you, whatever floats your boat there, Jill. Jill Biden is among multiple Democrats who have spoke out against the idea. Well, yeah, that's because there's a lot of them over the age of 75. We are fighting racism. We're fighting sexism. We're fighting homophobia. I think we should also be fighting ageism. 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 Okay, said Senator Bernie Sanders. Shocker. Wonder why. In response to the proposal, according to CNN, Haley responded by, sorry, I'm still giggling over the ageism. Haley responded to Sanders' comments at a recent rally saying, Bernie Sanders lost his damn mind because I asked for that test. He is exactly the reason we need it. Yeah, no kidding. Whoopi Goldberg lost her mind over it. And you know what she was doing. She was glorifying Dianne Feinstein and Maxine Waters. They are exactly the reason we need it. Well, Feinstein, 89, Waters, 84, Sanders, 81, and President Joe Biden, Resident Potato, 80 years old, have been pointed to as particular politicians who would be subject to such a policy. However, a remarkable number of federal representatives in the United States are over 75 years old. Well, how come they're not throwing the fit then? According to fiscal notes, 36 members of the House of Representatives and 70 are over 75, with another 8 who are 74 years old. In regards to Congress, 16 members are over 75, with Feinstein topping the list. Isn't she the one that's currently in a hospital, I think? I'm just saying. She is only a few months older than Senator Chuck Grassley, who is also 89. The First Lady pointed to the president's schedule as evidence that he is full of youth asking how many 30-year-olds could travel to Poland, get on a train, go 9 more hours, go to Ukraine, meet with President Zelensky, if you put him on cocaine. I mean, so look at the man. Look what he's doing. Look what he continues to do each and every day. Yeah, that's why we're asking for the test, actually. Just saying. When asked about President Biden seeking re-election, Jill Biden was unable to say for sure whether or not Joe Biden would run again, saying he's too busy with the magnitude of crises at home, mostly created by him. Nothing's been planned yet, she continued. He's putting America's business before his. Yeah, for shingles. There you go. By the way, I've had, believe it or not, even at I was 39 years old when I had my first case of shingles. Turns out that they can be brought on by stress in younger people. And shingles suck. Just to let you know. Not anything that anyone ever wants to have is shingles. I'm just saying. It's not okay. But I had chickenpox when I was little too, so I got that going for me, which is nice. Yeah, Biden is full of youth via adrenochrome. Yeah, exactly. He's had youth in his mouth. He's had youth in it. Well, never mind. I gotta watch it because I'm actually on Facebook and YouTube right now too. But to be honest with you, I don't know how long that's gonna last, and that's just okay. Let's see. We already did the "We're Up There Always Watching." This was kind of sad. Although the pandemic is over, remember, Facebook and YouTube, I am just quoting what your president stated months ago, that the COVID-19 pandemic is over. That's what he said. Top-ranking Novak Djokovic, there you go, Djokovic, withdraws from BNP Paribas Open in Indian Wells. You want to know why? After being denied entry into the United States due to his vaccination status. What? What? Well, okay. I thought it was over. But this poor player, he's a tennis player, so, yeah. But, still. We can let everybody cross the southern border. Open that wide up. Come on in. Let me write your fake name down. See you later. We'll call you. Never. But this guy can't come over and play tennis. Okay. Novak, I have no idea how to say that. Djokovic? I'm guessing. Djokovic? Prohibited from traveling to the United States over his COVID-19 vaccination status, has withdrawn from the 2023 Paribas Open in Indian Wells, California. Tournament organizers announced in a tweet Sunday night. World's number one, Novak Djokovic, has withdrawn from the 2023 BNP Paribas Open. With his withdrawal, is there no one from America? What is Nicholas Basilashvili? Basilashvili. Jesus. Moves into the field. Organizers said, appending the hashtag tennis paradise. Well, it's not a paradise for that guy. He got told no. Ask him if he thinks it's a paradise. I don't think he will. I'm just saying. Yeah. So I guess the the pandemic's not over. I wish they would make their mind up. I really do. You just can't imagine how screwed you are. Jordan Peterson warning leaves host visibly shaken. She looks a little shaken. On the Rubin Report this week, Blaze TV host Dave Rubin shared a video clip of psychologist and author Dr. Jordan Peterson telling Sky News Australia's Rita Panahi about why totalitarian social credit system is more likely than we think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're already kind of doing that. But Peterson said it is highly probable that Western countries will usher in an automated social credit system without anyone even noticing. And it will be accepted because people yearn for safety and convenience. Yeah, that's what's got us in trouble before, is these two things right here. Safety and convenience. So, let's hear it from the man himself, shall we?
You know what happens if we don't stay on that path of knowing what our rights are, knowing what we believe and why we believe it? They will keep a coming. They will keep a coming with the lies. They will keep a coming with the lockdowns, and they will keep coming with far worse things. Jordan Peterson actually talked about some of those far worse things with Rita Panahi on Sky News Australia.
Do you think what we did during COVID could usher in our version of a social credit system?
Oh yes, definitely. Yeah, that's highly probable.
And that it will be accepted by many people because, again, that
they won't even
yearning
notice.
for safety.
They won't notice even. Yeah. You can't believe how much people don't know these things. When I went to the UK, I talked to some people from the House of Lords. This is within the last 6 months. The most astute of the people sitting in the House of Lords had only become aware of the woke movement in the last 18 months. Oh yes, you just can't believe how much this is not on people's radar. Not someone like you can't believe that at all because it's on your radar all the time. That's not, you live in a world that's on the cutting edge of this sort of thing. It's like people have no idea. It's like, well, why not have a digital passport? I mean, you know, how convenient. It's like, fair enough, and you can understand that. Wouldn't it be nice if we could pay for everything with our phones? It's like, wouldn't it be nice if the central government, who's woke oriented and makes carbon dioxide remediation the priority, knows exactly what you spend on everything so they can target you tax-wise with precision? It's like, oh, didn't think about that. It's like, yeah, you sure didn't. And oh yes, it's highly probable. It'll be a miracle if we escape from that. You can see these signs of this everywhere. You know, when you go through airports now, there's a lot of automated barriers. You show your passport. It's like, well, these are automated barriers. What if you can't go through them? Well, that's the situation for many people in China. It's like, what are you going to do? You're going to argue with the machine? Like, you just cannot imagine how screwed you are. It's way worse than anything Kafka ever imagined. Because at least with Kafka, there was bureaucrats. Faceless though they may have been, they were at least still human. Once the machines can lock you out, you are in such trouble. And we're speeding towards that with an immense lack of care.
You see why it's important to be awake? I would say if you watch this show, you're probably an edge case on the front end of this, as he described to Rita, meaning that you are aware of some of this stuff. You probably didn't lose your mind over the couple of years, even though we were all given these horrific choices to make about going to work or being vaccinated or all these things. But we saw some of the stuff. We were willing to question some of the things, all of those things. And a certain amount of people aren't. And then a certain amount of people, as Jordan's laying out, will one day, after the digital passports are in and all of the stuff, they'll get to the airport, they'll scan their thing, and the machine will tell them, no, you can't get on that plane. You liked this video, or you did this or that, or we're freezing your bank account. So all of these tests have been running throughout the West. It just is, guys. But now Elon is exposing it. And that should give you some serious freaking oomph behind your desire to keep going.
Well, it's It's a warm fuzzy, isn't it? And you know what? There's pay attention at your local Walmarts. I don't know what they are yet, but they are putting up sensors in the coolers and freezer section. And wouldn't it be interesting if you were to walk into Walmart one day and grab a hold of the handle on the cooler or freezer door to buy your groceries, and because of your social credit score, it just wouldn't open? Wouldn't that be interesting? I'm sure they're not trying to figure out stuff like that, though. This is a bit of a problem. Asthma patients face a worsening acute shortage of one of the most common treatment medications. This is kind of a big deal because it's not just for asthma patients, although asthma patients are who use it in the majority. But if anybody's ever taken a nebulizer treatment or something like that, there's a fairly decent chance that you've had the unfortunate pleasure of tasting the medication that we're about to talk about. And that would be albuterol sulfate. Yeah, now we have a shortage on albuterol. That's great, huh? Hospitals are sounding the alarm that the national supply chain issues are threatening to make the ongoing shortage of albuterol much worse, especially after one of the nation's major suppliers shut down last week. Albuterol is one of the most common used treatments for asthma and other respiratory issues. It is one of the class of medications known as bronchodilators. Basically, it forces your lungs to open up. If you can kind of think of your lung passages as a kind of as a rubbery hose. When you're having an asthma attack, what's happening is those rubbery hoses are inflamed and they're collapsing while they're closing in on themselves, so you can't get air. No matter how hard you try to suck in, and no matter how hard your diaphragm works, trust me, because I have asthma, you just can't get the air into the lungs. So what a bronchial dilator is it goes in and forces those passages back open, and in some cases can overexpand them. That's why back in the 90s, a lot of track kids would use albuterol before they took off running, as long as they weren't getting caught by the coach. Why? Because they could breathe better. It would open up the bronchial passages, and you could really suck some wind in and over-oxygenate your body. Just saying. It is one of the class of medications known as bronchodilator. It is used to prevent bronchospasm in patients with a wide variety of respiratory conditions, including emphysema and bronchitis. It has been in short supply since last summer, but hospitals warn that the shortage is about to get much worse. So if you have a kid or you yourself uses albuterol, even if you use it in the form of a nebulizer, you may want to talk to your doctor and see if you can get a pre-outage prescription kind of ahead of time, so you're not one of the people having to stand in line and be told that, sorry, the pharmacy doesn't have your medication filled because there isn't any. Just saying. Let's see. Acorn Operations Company LLC shut down operations last week after filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in 2020. But I thought everything was going well in the economy. Why are these big companies declaring bankruptcy? Acorn was the only company in the world that, to make certain products necessary for continuous nebulizer treatments. Acorn's shutdown has left exactly one domestic supplier of liquid albuterol, Nephron. I know both of those companies. Nephron's albuterol has been on back order for weeks. And although they began shipping orders last week, they are still far behind on fulfillment orders. So, just saying, if you can find a doctor that might give you a larger prescription for your albuterol medication, because with albuterol, when it's in an inhaler form, here's the thing. Albuterol is considered an emergency inhaler. That means, oh crap, I'm having an asthma attack right now. I can't get a breath in. I don't have time to, because they have powder forms that help and stuff like that, but they're kind of a time release. So you don't have time to pop that powder form capsule and breathe it in and wait for it to take effect when you're having an asthma attack. What you need is a shot of albuterol to dilate your bronchial tubes and get that air into your system. Trust me, it's scary as hell. I've had an asthma attack before. It's not fun. If I couldn't imagine if I didn't have access to an emergency inhaler because we're out of albuterol. I couldn't imagine going through that day. There's a fairly decent chance that you're not going to make it. I mean, asthma used to be a deadly disease, and now it's just kind of, it's thought about as easily treated, so we don't worry about it. Sounds like we might be going back to those not so easily treated days. That's fun. I like hearing that. Hey, we got some mug shots of the winners that attacked that police training center down in Atlanta. Or the construction, I guess, site for the new police training center. These look like some winners. Let me tell you, I'm going to go to big screen so you guys can see this. Hey, Blonde, how's it going? By the way, Michael Myers, good to see you out there. And anybody else? Looks like we got some lurkers. So, good to see you guys. Look at these suspected Antifa terrorists. I gotta say suspected because they're not convicted yet, right? What the what? You know what gets me as I'm looking at this, right? So this was in Atlanta, Georgia, is where this attack happened. Virginia, Massachusetts, Maine, Massachusetts, France, Colorado, Connecticut, Wisconsin, Wyoming wouldn't have any of these. Georgia, North Carolina, Louisiana, Wisconsin, Florida, Indiana, New York, Canada. I am not seeing none of them. Oh, no, I take that back. April. Jack April. Oh, Jack April. Whoops. I thought this person right here, I thought that was a chick. But she's name is Jack April Beeman. So now I'm confused. I'm guessing I'm just as confused as he is. It's got to be a she. Maybe Jacqueline goes by Jack. I don't know. But she's the only one from Georgia that I can see. Out of all of these nitwits, looking at this, I'm wondering how many of them were doing it just for the money. I'll bet you at least 85% were doing this just for the money. And then you have these nitwits like down here. I'm guessing these were the elders that they looked up to here. Born in 1974, born in 1976, born in 88. Good Lord, she's younger than I am. Oh, good Lord. 1974. have named 23 of the 35 Antifa extremists. Then you got this kid right up here, that Ida Elegla King. She looks like he's trying to, I don't know what that is. But why are you doing the pose from the Breakfast Club with your jacket on? In your mugshot? Just saying. This girl looks like she's already ready to submit in prison, so she'll have a good chance. Anywho, that's the twits that, you can get a shot of adrenaline, but wow. If you've ever taken, I mean, you can do adrenaline, epinephrine you can also do. Epinephrine will open up your airways really, really quick, but it also does a lot of other shit that once you stab that needle in your leg, you best be at the car getting ready to go to the ER, or have the ambulance on its route to come pick you up and take you to the ER. One of the two. Had the unfortunate pleasure of doing that too. I didn't have to stab myself, but when I got to the ER, I was having a bad enough allergic attack that I got an epinephrine shot while I was there. Wow. You want to talk about, you can get a breath in, but you feel like your freaking heart's going to explode too. It's great fun. Where's our black bereavement leave? Professor argues for paid time off leave for black staff to deal with fatigue and trauma from systemic racism. You gotta be shitting me. I don't understand. Here's the thing. Here's my logic behind this. And I'm sure I'm incorrect. Someone out there will tell me that I'm wrong. Why is it always pillars, people that have made it, that are the ones that are claiming this? It's always the people that made it are the ones that are claiming that they're oppressed. I'm confused. Very confused. That's like me standing at the top of a pile of gold and saying, God, if I was just a little richer and I didn't have to work so hard, I wouldn't have such a tough life as I'm standing on a pile of gold. So you're a professor. So, hey, professor, do you want to explain to me how you've been held down because of your race? You want to explain to me how you never got to where you were a pillar in the community because of your race? I'm just wanting to make sure, professor, how that didn't happen for you. Southern Illinois University visiting professor Angel Jones, remember that name, is arguing that black people should get special paid time off as bereavement leave. Does she know what bereavement is? It's usually when family member passes. Okay. Anyway, in order to deal with the systemic racism. Huh? Okay. You know what? Oh my God. It's an actual term. RBF. Just out of curiosity, does anybody else know what the acronym RBF stands for? Anybody in chats? I mean, I've used that term quite a few times. When I use it, it does not mean racial battle fatigue, which I don't know what that is. A term coined by Will Smith that refers to the psychological and the physiological consequences of experiencing racism. If we said someone had RBF, that means they had resting bitch face. But you know what? Hey, if you guys want to coin the term RBF, I'm sure, especially with this professor, I would probably agree. Just saying. Just saying. You got to come up with a better acronym. Come on now. So this lady thinks that because she's a professor at a college who happens to be black, she deserves some bereavement pay and time off because of all the RBFing she's had to do. You know what? I can totally understand the RBF side. She definitely has a resting bitch face. Here we go. Murdaugh jurors share piece of evidence. Uh-oh. No, get out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here. Thank you. I'm not shutting my ad blocker off. Sorry. Share the piece of evidence that sealed the deal in the murder conviction. And guess what it was? It was the video, according to them, it was the video that showed him at the dog kennels. So none of the other testimony that says, according to his vehicle, according to his cell phone, that he wasn't there at the time of the murders. He was there at the dog kennels, and that's what did it. What actually did it was right here. They didn't believe that he was actually crying. He turned it on and off. It wasn't genuine. So they didn't feel like he was genuine. That's why they convicted him. Because I'll tell you what, I watched that whole trial, and trust me, it was very boring. Very boring. But from an outsider, not knowing who Alex Murdaugh is, not knowing what his family has done, not knowing any of the financial stuff that he done, just purely looking at the evidence, they shouldn't have probably convicted him. I'm not saying he's not a slime ball, and I'm not saying that he didn't possibly do it or know who did. I'm just telling you that if you follow the instructions of a jury court, they shouldn't have been able to convict him unless they convicted him on feeling, and that's exactly what they did. That's the part about a jury trial. You want a jury trial if you're ever convicted, or if you're ever arrested, I guess I should say. But jury trials are very, very, very hit and miss. In this day and age, people get convicted on feels a lot. Maybe I should self-identify as a short. No. You need to identify as a short, pregnant, gay, black male. Then you'd have all of them. See, then you have the transgender in there. You have the bias of being short. Oh, and you also you should be overweight too. Make sure you get the overweight thing in. Because if you were a short, overweight, pregnant, black, gay male, then, because you got the pregnant part in there, so that covers the other side. Just saying. You'd have a fairly good shot then. Evidently, the Swiss are pissed at Toblerone, I've never known how to say this. Toblerone chocolate. I've seen them. They're a strangely packed chocolate that looks like little mountains. It's kind of cool. But they're pissed at them because they're moving their operation. So Toblerone chocolate packaging will no longer feature Switzerland's iconic Matterhorn mountain. As its U.S. owner, Mondelez, good Lord, can they not just, what's wrong with Smith or Jones or something like that? Move some production to Slovakia later this year. The company will also remove the reference to Toblerone being Swiss chocolate, instead declaring that it was established in Switzerland in 1908. Yep, the Swiss legislation passed a law in 2017 which requires any product using Swissness. Can't have any Swiss likeness, to advertise a product or service to meet a set of origin criteria. Milk-based products must be made exclusively in the country. There you go. So if you want, you're not getting real Swiss chocolate if it doesn't say that it's from Switzerland, according to the Swiss. Sure. I guess, makes sense. Good thing to be proud of your country. I wonder how many Swiss timepieces are actually Swiss made. You sat on a cold case jury? The only jury that I've got to sit in on was and I would love to. I would love to be a juror. I know people duck and avoid jury duty, pretty regularly, but I actually was on a civil case, and I loved the heck out of it because it made me realize, and I hate to say this, it also made me lose faith in our juris system. It was amazing. But yep, no more Swiss chocolate can be made if it's not made in Switzerland. Let's see, what else do we have? Oh, here's a headline for all you streamers out there if you're having trouble. NVIDIA confirms latest GeForce driver is causing CPU spikes. There you go. If you notice that you're streaming and you're having CPU issues, you might want to take a look at your NVIDIA driver. Just saying, if you guys would like this article, I can surely, here, I'll dump it in chats for anybody out there that has been fighting their NVIDIA driver. Paste that. There you go. And you'll see, that'll be out, and then you'll hear me talking about it. But, yeah. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Nothing but problems. Oh, well. Well, that's it, folks. That's all. There ain't no more. Now it's time to get ready to fire up the book. So, well, for all you fine, lovely people out there, thank you very much for hanging out. Hey, make sure you check out MontanaFreeTV.com. Head over there and look at the affiliate page. If you're looking for something online, take a gander there. It's a fairly decent chance we work with one of the companies that you're looking at. So help support the channel. Doesn't cost you any more money. Makes us a little bit of money on the side. That's why we do the affiliate programs. I would certainly head over there, if nothing else, and check out Jace Medical. By the way, I got my Jace case. We'll look at that tomorrow. Great little setup. But we got to get out of here because we got to get the book ready. Today is, this is book 2 of the series we just started, which the first one was Blackout. This one is All Dark. So it's an EMP that happened, and we kind of follow along to see how they handle it, how the average Joe handles a situation like this. So for now, I will tell you all, Have a great rest of your day if you don't stick around for the book. And if you do, just watch for the card popping up. It's going to be about 10 or about 2:15 when we finally get everything started up. So we will see you around that time. Thanks everybody for being here. Have a great day.
Thank you.